So one of the questions I got asked here online was that, can you make a video that breaks down how an independent agency makes revenue, commission, profit sharing, higher tier payout for commissions based on carrier metrics? Yeah, there's not a whole lot different than the video I previously made. I'll link it at the end if you want to check it out. The main thing that you should focus on, which is selling policies, right? That's kind of obvious. If you're not focused on getting the right premium, almost to an overload, to be honest with you, then you're not going to get to this level anyways. So the way that the commissions work is each carrier, so we'll just put them carriers. You got carrier A, carrier B, carrier C, carrier D. So this could be Progressive, this could be Nationwide, this could be Safeco, whatever, whoever. And carrier A is trying to design their book around certain types of clients. That's why you hear them say, do we want a non-preferred, a preferred type of client, or the premium type client, whatever the case is. And so the type of business that they want to have is going to determine part of the commission that you're going to get. Now, I know that's honestly, it's a little bit frustrating because going after the preferred market is very difficult, but it's very doable. If you go across and go to the preferred and have a non-preferred backup, then that's honestly the plan that I work towards. Is we try to go towards preferred type clients, but we're an everyman brand, so we work with just about anybody. We have the backups for people that aren't preferred clients. So the people aren't bad or indifferent that way. It's just the type of business that you're writing. So these are the carriers. They want to have a couple things. So if you have an auto policy, we're going to talk about P&C mostly. If you have a home / renters / whatever, condo, and then you've got like your commercial, because that's become the hottest thing since sliced bread for people. When our market kind of went upside down into a hard market, everyone started going to commercial. That's at least what a lot of people did. Now the commercial is starting to go into hard markets, so it's kind of falling flat on their face either way. So if you're writing just a monoline policy, most of these carriers say we'll give you about a 12% commission for an auto policy. Now the premium carriers are going to do it a little bit more specific to where they're going to say it's partially 12% at the base if you're going to write an auto. But if you're going to write an auto with a certain package, so like a premier package, which is honestly a benefit to the customer, I carry a premier package, so it's something that I believe in, but they're going to say we're going to bump that policy up to 15%. Okay, and a lot of times this actually saves the customer money. So even though you get paid more on the policy, the customer might actually save some money. There's 100 ways we can go about that. Okay, so then if you do the home, they're going to say the same thing. We're going to give you about a 12%. Okay, in commercial, a lot of it is closer to 10%. Now, the way that you're going to get paid is if you sell these alone. But if you combine them and you sell home and auto, again, the customer is getting the deal because they get 20 to 40% off the policy. So it's a benefit to them. But the reason that they're doing this is, we'll come back to that. The combination is going to usually bump you to about a 15%, depending on the package and the company and the way that they want you to write it. So that's company A. Company B might be like, well, we don't even care about the home. We just care about the auto. We'll give you 12 to 15% based on the package you do. And then the home will do the same thing. We'll just give you 12%. And commercials, 10% across the board. Now, where you start to get crazy and where the commissions start to go crazy is when you kind of enter this commercial world. Every company's different. You're going to find the ease of use and the ease of customer interaction is going to be like a Progressive, a Geico. Those companies are really easy to work with. Your Next Insurance type companies. They're going to just default that 10%. You're going to, on average, be there, even though they offer tons of other lines. Your other company like Hiscox and Chubb and all of those guys, they're going to be a lot more difficult to work with, not necessarily harder to write, but let's use trucking, for example. If I go to Progressive and I want to change a truck or a driver, I go into Progressive, I change the truck, I change the driver, tells me the price, boom, done. If I want to go to a different company, a lot of these higher paying companies, they do it by hand. And so I got to submit it and wait 2 days or 24 hours, and then I get it back. And if it's on the weekend, it's not happening. So they know that they're a lot more complicated, but those companies can be anywhere from 12 to 20%. And some companies, depending on the type of business you're writing, BOPs, things like that, business owner policies, they get over 20%. Okay, so there is a ton of extra leeway here because you have less combo talk, less connections, but you're going to have a lot more paid commissions based on the company. Now, I'll be honest with you, most of the time we kind of lean towards this 10% because the ease of use is very convenient, especially if you have like truck drivers that change things constantly. Having that availability is huge. Oh, I gotta answer this. The contingency bonus, I can't even spell it, contingent bonus is usually 3% on average. So you're gonna see anywhere from 0 to 3%. It can go as high as 5%. It really just depends on the company. And the way that the companies look at this is they're kind of graphing it out. So they're looking at the loss ratio of your specific agency. If you're with a network, they're looking at the network as a whole, so you're not going to get that data because you can't have access to the other companies. The loss ratio versus the premium versus the growth. And this is really what a company is going to specifically look at as far as the main pieces that you're going to see. If in general, each carrier is going to have a different contract based on the size of your company or the size of your network and the growth that they want you to have. Right now, in all honesty, most of these are kind of just they're just not there because they're not looking to grow right at the moment. But in the future, once they start opening up in 2025 and going forward, we're going to see this come back and be a lot more important. The growth is going to be huge. So what type of policies are you writing? Some of the companies, again, these packages, they want to say you have to have X amount of packages here, or for your kind of your farmers type companies, they're going to say you have to have X amount of life insurance here. So there's rules that they set in place. Like if you do these things, this is the bonus that you're going to get as a company paid back to you at the end of the year or the middle of the following year, right? So you're going to see something like that. If you have, let's just say, a $2 million book and you get 3% of that, right? So it's a $2 million book and you get 3%. That's what, $60K? So that can make a pretty big difference on what you're going to get if you're going to get that income. Now that's assuming that you got like the maxed out, everything worked out perfectly. It can go lower, it can go higher, it can be 8,000, 5,000, whatever the book is. It depends really the book size and the percentage that you've gotten. So if I grow by this many and I don't have this many cancels and I'm showing movement forward, we previously set goals for you in the beginning of the year and you've hit those numbers. So yeah, you're going to get that extra bonus. And that's where I call that the extra income, because you got to be careful. A lot of agencies run off of this profit at the end of the year, and that can literally just bankrupt you if you don't have enough going on to where you're budgeting correctly for the year to year. This can be a good bonus and a good marketing ad, but it's not going to be your end all be all. I know that's not super specific because obviously every carrier is different. I can't go into all the carrier stuff, and even if I could, I don't think I'm legally allowed to because every contract is different with every agency. That's essentially the way that it looks as far as the payout. So if you're kind of wondering like, what can I earn as an income? Really, once you get to that $1 million plus mark, that's kind of the goal that most agency owners are trying to hit. And then to the 2 million, to the 3 million, and then you kind of cap out unless you hire more. So that 1 million mark, because you're going to roughly pull in, let's just say you're writing some commercial, some personal lines, you're going to average about 12% in return. It's about 120,000 a year. You're going to have your expenses. You're probably going to have at least, I don't know, we'll say 20,000 a year in expenses, not including marketing. So you might spend 20 to 30,000 a year between marketing and growing. And then past that, if you grow enough, you're going to get those extra bonuses to kind of move forward. The game plan for most people, if they're trying to grow an agency in general, is to hire, grow that, hire and grow that, and continually have a growth pattern. Personally, I think that it might make more sense to buy books of business as you grow. So once you get to a certain size, 2, 3, 4, even 5 employees, you've got enough service help, then it makes sense to kind of take the income, invest it back in, and essentially regrow the book with purchasing other books of business. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you want me to dive in a little bit further into a different question, hopefully this was helpful. I'm Mark W. Flockhart. See you soon.